Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Kaga. Today it is my great pleasure to bring you a short replay, well, relatively short replay from World of Warships about one of my favorite ships from the closed beta test. And I've now finally unlocked it in the open beta test. That is the Aoba class heavy cruiser, the tier 6 Japanese heavy cruiser. Now, you're all familiar with Japanese cruisers probably by this point in the proceedings, and that, unlike their American counterparts, they all carry torpedoes. That's right, the Aoba is no exception. She carries 4 torpedoes on each side, makes it a very nasty sting in this cruiser. And you'll note that this was actually one of the first matches that I happened to play in the open beta test for World of Warships in the Alba. So it's just me getting a feel for the fact that, I've got fighter float planes instead of scout planes on this thing. And this is probably one of the first times I really had to start wondering, APHE, APHE. And I will note that because to this point I've spent a good number of rounds just stomping people in my tier 4 Myogi and in the Isokaze, and I finally got the Minekaze as well. And other than that, I've been pretty true to the carrier line. Anyway, all that stuff's a subject for other videos. So we find ourselves on the new Solomon Islands map. If you're interested in the basic theories and, well, the theory crafting that I put forward in my Furutaka Iron Bottom Sound video, please check that out. I go through a little bit more in detail about where people are likely to head on this map. Please check that out. It'd be very insightful if you haven't already gotten a feel for this map. So right now I see those enemy bombers and I'm turning out. I've got my AA focused, and I make quick use to send up that fighter float plane because why not? And you'll note that I have not activated my barrage ability, and that's because right now I don't believe that those dive bombers pose a significant threat being engaged from 2 directions, and we're proven correct in that assumption. And I really stress that to cruiser drivers out there. Just because there are planes coming in doesn't mean that you should use your barrage skill right that instant. You should be very careful that you're not being baited out of the ability. Seeing that we have what appears to be an enemy Myogi staring us down across this bay here, start pouring out some nice high explosive fire, and oh crap, is that a Nicholas? Put in some torpedoes to help funnel his movement. And you're going to note that the turrets on my Aoba don't turn as quickly as you might think that they should. And that is because, and yes, your intuition is correct on this one, I've chosen not to upgrade the turning speed of the turrets on my Aoba. I have chosen for instead to upgrade the accuracy of its guns. And you might not see it in this replay, at least directly, but you kind of get a feeling for how much that Nicholas is getting wrecked by our shells. And I promise a video in the future using the Aoba that is just demonstrates just so how important this upgrade is for Japanese heavy cruisers, at least in comparison to like an American heavy cruiser. Granted, this means that when I'm trying to bring the guns on and between targets, I have to make active use of the entire hull of the vessel, which it sounds bad, and admittedly, it does leave yourself open to being citadeled a few times, as you saw just a minute and a half ago when I think it was the enemy Myogi that planted that nice citadel into our broadside there when I was dodging that Nicholas. But when you start trying to master heavy cruisers, you find yourself not relying on inaccurate high explosive spam. You try to be much more calculating in the shells that you're firing and the targets that they're hitting, and as you can see, those are extremely tight clusters, even out to about 11 kilometers out of these guns. And yes, I really do promise I've got a much more telling video about how important this accuracy is. It will come in another 2 days or so, promise. And now we've switched to armor-piercing ammunition to deal with that, what appears to be a Kuma class cruiser. We're finding the center of his vessel, but it's just not hitting low enough for citadels. So we adjust the aim again. Boom, send out another salvo, and we connect 3 in one salvo. Ouch, he's probably wishing he hadn't turned down that way right about now. I've got AP loaded. I send another salvo. It looks like I'm sending it at the Cleveland. Yes, I am. And we can still pick up a little bit of damage there. Probably would have gotten more out of high explosive, but no big deal, right? The Cleveland. Those things are hard to kill. Totally OP in their tiers. And I say that just because the high volume of fire, the fast turning turrets, and if you can get a citadel penetration on a Cleveland, you've done something so right. And as you can see, I'm still aiming for the citadels on the Cleveland, and it's just, nope. Wasn't gonna happen that salvo. So right now I turn out. I'm not really in a hurry to head back up that bay, and I see that we're leaving this area completely open in case one of those just enemy cruisers or destroyers decides to come up and try to accost our friendly aircraft carriers over here. And I'm noticing that our allied carriers are having a bit of a hard time against the enemy CVs. So let's try to lend some fire to the good cause, but it looks like they're just outpacing our field of effective fire. Our float plane gets taken down in an instant. And right now we're going to just try to put up whatever fire we can without using our barrage skill. That is an option, but again, we don't know what they're planning to do, so unless we have to do it or we need to protect somebody within our realm of fire, we should not use it. Oh joy, another Cleveland! There are too many of these things on the live server. And just you wait, give him a few dozen more matches, he'll probably be a full-grown Pensacola. And hating every minute of it. So again, we're doing this little back and forth, zigzag fire here. It's disrupting those Cleveland's ability to put fire out effectively onto us, because with those 6-inch shells, they have to arc them so high to be able to reach us at this distance that there's a lot of time aloft that we can use to put distance between the point that they aimed at us and the point where we'll actually be. I can't stress that enough to everyone watching this. It doesn't matter what class you're in or what class is taking pot shots at you. Being predictable is being sunk quickly. So get out of those dirty World of Tanks habits out of your mind right now, and be prepared to spend some time zigzagging. It will make your life easier. So we're turning back in to attempt to help the Allies put pressure on these two Clevelands, push them back around that cape there, and it looks like right now, for the moment anyway, we are succeeding. So we have with us an allied destroyer and another Aoba class cruiser. It's actually kind of amazing that two Aobas are, at least in this match, able to repulse two Cleveland class cruisers. I remember back in the days of the closed beta test where Cleveland's just would eat this pair for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then ask for more. Seeing that those two Clevelands have made it back around the cape of that Long Island, decide to head back up to that other bay that we came from earlier in the north,
Fighter ready for takeoff.
because it looks like our carriers are exposed to yet another Cleveland, and it looks like maybe, just maybe, that Cleveland is at the outer periphery of his extended firing range, and he might be able to engage the carrier. He is putting shots out. I suspect he could do just what I fear when I turn around, so it's a good thing we turned around. We got the AP loaded still. We're gonna just put it out there downrange at that Congo. Doesn't matter that it's probably not the right ammunition for the target. It's what's in the breach. We managed to actually penetrate down through above the, looks like the deck anyway, for a few thousand damage. So that's good. And that is another thing that you are probably going to want to understand about your Japanese heavy cruisers or your American heavy cruisers is when is the right time to fire your high explosive rounds, when is the right time to fire your armor piercing rounds. And at the end of the day, it depends on your target, the shell trajectory, and the armor profile, the area that you're looking to engage. And right now you see me going back to the armor piercing against this Cleveland. I am praying for a citadel at this moment. I knew going into this that this was probably a one-way trip, but we'll see what we can do. I'm gonna keep pouring shot after shot after shot, or I should say salvo after salvo. Bad World of Tanks habits. Bad World of Tanks habits. Looks like I'm leading a little far behind for that citadel there. Probably a little bit of the pressure after having taken that couple of those big hits over this match. Wasn't in the right frame of mind or something, but you know, a little bit of damage at a time is enough. It might be enough for an ally to turn the tide against that Cleveland. Who knows? But here we are, and this is another tactic you can use to not just confound enemy cruiser drivers like Cleveland's in their shots onto you, but enemy battleships at range, even enemy destroyers firing their torpedoes, and, well, anyone really who has significant amount of time between the moment they fire and the moment whatever they're firing at you is going to hit. And that is to rapidly change your speed and heading simultaneously and unpredictably, so that whatever they're firing at has a greater chance of missing you. And this is what I'm doing with the throttle, moving up and down and moving my fingers all over the A, D, Q, and E keys throughout this match. And I'll let up the pressure on turns, if only to get a momentary shooting solution onto a target. And as you can see, we can do some very nice quick aiming with the guns on this heavy cruiser here. And in the span of time that Congo has put in, I don't know, one salvo, we've managed to connect about 3. Now this one should be coming up on 4 salvos for around 8,000 damage. It's not doing too bad considering that we're firing armor piercing at him. and not the HE spam that people have come or have become so accustomed to in World of Warships when they drive their battleships into matches. But HE spam is HE spam. It was going to happen. It doesn't matter what. Now, what you see me do here is a significantly big misplay on my behalf, and that is because I sat back and started thinking, I can cover this area, I can put some extra shots down, I might be able to cover this destroyer a little bit better than if he was completely on his own, and I fumble my ammunition. Ow. 700 health doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. It really is. And again, we're using the throttle trick to play with their sense of aim. But I doubt it's going to work more than that, and we're on fire, and well, that's it. Fire is fire, right? But, and again, this is one of those things with the accuracy upgrades. Yes, you saw that correct. I just landed 6 out of 6 shots on that enemy Cleveland at near maximum range. That is no mean feat. And as that is the end of our battle, I won't bore you with the rest of it. So, you know, almost 205,000 credits and 5,000 experience for one match. That's doing pretty good. 78 shell hits, 6 planes down with 3 citadels. That's doing fairly well in anybody's book here, especially since those citadels are maximum damage valued for your armor piercing, so they actually will do more damage than AP outright. But we still switched between the ammunitions and was able to come out with a good amount mixture of damage throughout this match, with the 2 fires burning for a little bit there. And you probably didn't have a good sense of this unless you were paying attention to the chat messages and the kill messages on the screen throughout this match, but really well played to the Mutski on our team for 4 kills in this match. Well played, Kionist. Well played. And that really does, at least this particular screen highlights how well you can do in the heavy cruisers if you're willing to switch up the ammunitions and change how you steer the vessel. The better control you have over the vessel, the higher the numbers on this screen end up being. I am not exaggerating at all when I say this. The longer you're alive, the more damage you can do. So keep that in mind. And overall for this match, which I have to admit really wasn't the best of matches in the Aoba that I've ever had, but those replays have long since been mid by the new iterations of the client after the open beta test went into effect. But 64,929 damage is nothing to shake a stick at, and as you saw on the previous screen, that was better than what most of the rest of my team had managed to put together. Oh my. Yeah, that was as bad as I thought it was. Anyway, we've reached that point at the end of the video where I'm once again would like to thank you for having stuck with me for 19 minutes. I promise to keep this short, and that's about as short as replays end up being in World of Warships unless there's a total raffle stomping. Did you see something that you didn't quite understand in this video? Or perhaps there was something that came to mind while watching it that was left unaddressed? Please let me know in the comments. I'd love to tackle your questions. I suspect that the next video that I upload will probably be something from World of Tanks. I happened to get some really, really nice games recently to put up here for you all. There might be some new personal missions catalog videos for you all. Catalog? Is that really the best word for this? Oh, whatever. It's Just too stupid early for this type of stuff. If this video or other content on this channel interests you, please consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you all around. Thank you, and good day.